mental note. I was going to ask you, don't tell us your address. I was like, don't go to this address and expect a conversation. I'm kidding.
So, is it normal or not to return clothes that you have purchased after wearing them?
No. You mean trying them on or wearing them? Wearing them.
After you've purchased them. You see that on TV where they're like,
I was going to say, I've seen it in movies where people go and wear it out to dinner and then they come home.
Yes,
and
yes.
No, I have never done that, and I don't think it's normal. But in saying that, but that's my normal, right? Your normal.
Yeah, I don't think it's normal. Probably
I think
one
it's
of the.
and it's not. It's a bit sad for the.
I mean, during COVID, you took them home, tried them on, and then took them back, which was just bizarre, you know. But I don't think it's normal to buy them and say you hear about with a prom dress or a suit for a wedding or something like that. And it's like, really? Like, I don't think that's normal to take them back. I'll tell you one story actually. I once donated a heap of shop clothes to the op shop many, many years ago. And then a couple of weeks after that, I was going through the racks and I found this really nice shirt and I bought it.
It was
And I
yours.
thought, wow. And it was my fucking shirt. Because as I was wearing it, I'm like, oh, it's got an itchy tag on it. And that's why I got rid of it, because you couldn't unpick the last remnants of the tag without the whole thing coming apart. You know, and I'm like, I remember why. So I literally gave it away and then bought it back for $4. So I'd give it away again. So I don't think it's normal to buy clothes and then return them after you've worn them.
I'll give a shout out. I just got a like from a comment that I put on Graham Harvey's happy birthday today. Now, this Graham Harvey is a dude that created a clearance protocol. And I tell you what, it is, I think he still sells it now because I did message. It's a nice little protocol that you can get. And he sells it for next to nothing, but it got my business started so massively. When I first started out and I was kind of a bit nervous, his clearance protocol can be done in groups. And so I did to get people coming in, and the pressure was on to get the business. I didn't want to get a job. I wanted to do hypnotherapy. So I had to get people in, and right away it was, you know, unheard of really here. And so I got this clearance protocol off him. At the time it was like 10, 20 pound or something. I can't remember. And and started doing it in groups, and it was awesome. But he just popped up on my Facebook. So I'm like, it's his day. And that was a real help to starting my business. So I do tell my students now to grab it. It's a cool a little thing that's really like you can make your money back straight away on your.
And I think you should just grab resources anyway and have them available there. Even if you don't end up using them, you can use them as inspiration.
Yeah, and it's a content free full session. But anyway, I just saw it pop up, so I thought I'd mention that.
So today we wanted to talk about, when is it hypnosis, or is everything hypnosis? Because one thing that I see a lot, one thing I have been asked quite a lot over the years is, what is the difference between meditation and hypnotherapy?
Yeah.
And you've seen it yourself where people run sessions, and even Darren Brown won't admit that he does hypnosis. But you've even seen people run sessions and you're like, this is just hypnosis.
Yeah, and it's, for me, I see the power of, for me, hypnosis is like authority. So when someone has authority over someone else, 50% trust, like that deep trust that I'm trusting you with my mind, and then 50% knowledge, like going into a doctor and being really unsure, and then the doctor saying something.
Even saying that, doctors are huge hypnotists.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's so much. I see hypnosis, happening all around all of the time, the power of suggestion, the power of imagination. And it's just, I think hypnotherapy is different because we use the knowledge of understanding of what we're doing with suggestion and imagination, putting it into a therapy form and having it out there. But so often I see people having sessions of so many different things, and you know that those sessions are actually working because of the power of imagination and suggestion or hypnosis. over the actual technique itself.
Mm.
And I find it real fascinating. I see it a lot in the spiritual world. I've even been watching these shaman things lately, and with the journeying and stuff, Jesus, like we're the modern day shamans because it's so similar what we're doing today in clinical hypnotherapy to what was being done thousands and thousands of years ago around a fire using imagination and journeying outside the realm of what we call normal. But yeah, it's a good topic because I see it, hypnosis or imagination playing out everywhere, eh?
Oh, it's everywhere, and not just in the positive sense either. You can get it very much in the negative sense. I've seen people go to those so-called healers where they're like, well, if you don't believe enough, you won't be able to cure your ADHD or something like that. And they have a real cop-out scenario where they're just like, you know what? You give us this amount of money, I will release you. I will release your demons. You no longer have cerebral palsy. And the person is literally like convulsing on the ground. So they think this person has such authority and they have these abilities and these powers, but it's actually the person just playing it out for themselves,
Yeah.
And then when, a couple of weeks go by, they go back and they're like, no, it hasn't worked. I've still got ADHD or, Down syndrome or whatever. And then they're like, no, you just don't believe enough.
I've been watching something called Leftovers. I know that makes me that. I'm watching something called Leftovers, and it's not about food on Netflix, about these people that have been left over. But it's a hard watch. I don't even know what's going on, but I saw something brilliant the other day. You have to it bores me to sleep, put it that way. But I saw this part that was really cool. So it's getting quite religious, and some people are gaudy people and some people are saying it's not true. Mm-hmm. But this woman in it, and I thought, fuck, that's good hypnosis. She got her son to make up a story to all these people that were grieving. So millions of people in this program just disappeared out of the blue. Just 1 minute they're pushing a baby, the next minute the baby's gone. So it caused all this havoc and grief and stuff. And what this woman did was, because she was a psychologist, she knew that when people are in a state of vulnerability and grief, that they will find something to believe in, real or not, even to the point of psychosis. So what she did was she got her son to go to these groups of people and say that he met this man that could take people's pain away. And that when the man died, he gave the gift to him. And he went up there and said, I now have the gift that if I hug you, it'll take all your pain away. And he stood up like the Messiah. And he's like, who wants a hug? And all these people would hug him and their pain would go. They'd start crying and they went away. And she said later, she was talking about it later to someone, oh, no, it's not true. We just made up a story, because I knew that these people are so lost that if we can give them something to believe in, almost to the point of psychosis, they will believe that he's the Messiah and he's taking their pain away. And here he was hugging these people, and they were healed, and they went on with their lives. And I thought, it's just, even in this crazy ass program that I don't get what's going on, the power of hypnosis and suggestion, like she described it perfectly. And here was this young guy going around hugging people to the point where he started questioning whether he was the Messiah himself, because these people were letting go of stuff.
See, this is where Darren Brown said it perfectly, where when he was talking about psychics and clairvoyants, mediums, etc. If you're doing this to help the individual, then you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
If you're doing it to get donations, to get payments, to gain control or anything like that, you're doing it for the wrong reason. And this is the blurred line between that person doing it because they believed and they needed assistance, and some kind of cult doing it because they want to control, etc., because both parties believe they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Like you look at every single war in history, both sides thought they were doing the right thing for what they were fighting for.
Yeah, me and my daughter, speaking of that, we were talking about the other day about in the car, quite a grim conversation because I had watched this beautiful, oh God, I'm watching a lot on Netflix lately, this movie on the war, Germany, and about a girl who was hidden in a house for a year or two because her parents got taken away to the camps. Mm-hmm. And after watching it, me and my daughter were having a conversation in the car about how it didn't take long to be able to cause enough grief to have people doing things to other people that are so inflamed through fear and the power of suggestion. And that, so how you were talking about using hypnosis or using the power of imagination and suggestion for harm. I mean, that was a perfect play off to how, like I said to her, that was only, would it be, if it was in, say, the 1930s or 20s, I'm not that good with times, we're talking only 100 years ago that that we as a being were still able to be, humans were still being able to be very quickly put into a space of doing things that you couldn't even imagine these days. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we've got the elections here in Australia at the moment, and of course the politicians are going around campaigning. Power of suggestion. We promise we're going to blah, blah, blah. We are going to introduce blah, blah, blah. And it gets people happy and choosing a side and, and then propaganding each other because they're like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah is going to be doing blah, blah, blah. And who are you voting for? And I'm like, what?
I'll tell you, there's a book. Now, I get my students to read it. I'm just going to quickly see if I can find it. If I can't find it right now, I'll post it later. I get my students to read it because what it is about, where's my recommended reading? It's not in here right now, important links. I'll post it soon. I think it's called something like Becoming You, or what it is about is the government did research years and years ago, and the research was put into a book about what you need to do to a town or a country to make it go left ring or right ring. Okay, done in America, right? And it was about if you created a society that was fearful, they would always vote for one party. If they could get a community to feel safe, and they'd vote for the other party. So this goes into the research of the mind. This is also the book where they went into the research which I find fascinating. This is what I teach my students. It only takes around 10 years for your face shape to start changing into your partners.
That's your body psychometry. I talk about that all the time.
It changes. Because we are an animal, a community-based animal.
We always want to fit in.
To survive, for us to survive, we have to be like the community we're around. And so they went into the research that it only takes about 10 years for your actual face shape and your body to start becoming who you're around to fit in society. So that's why I always say, like, say with my students, every Thursday we have mentoring. I'm like, whether you have questions or not, come along to mentoring because your brain and your mind and your body is mapping with people.
It can be motivating as well.
Instead of just being, going around town and just chatting with people. I call it mind mapping, where you intentionally choose who you spend time with so that your mind and your body maps those people to the point where I remember having clients where all their life they would be able to eat whatever they wanted. But then they moved town and they got with a bunch of friends who dieted and did this diet and that diet. And suddenly they got allergies to food like the people they were around. Suddenly they couldn't eat gluten anymore. Or suddenly they couldn't get away with eating food because they found themselves eating what the other people ate to fit in. And so their body would start changing.
It's the same as corporate. If you go into a corporate setting and you're not a smoker and all those people who have been smoking are in there, then you will, it's statistically proven, you will probably become a smoker. It's called crab mentality. I think you can look it up, the experiment with the crabs.
Yeah, so this book goes into the research where they prove that your face changes. I always say to my students, choose your partners wisely.
Not only choose your partners wisely, but choose your friends wisely. Like I said to you, was it just last week? I just want to go back to the conference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you feel good. Hey, that's a good topic. Trish, the conference downer. I had a conversation with a few people because post-conference, they were on a high for about a week or so, and then suddenly they got really down.
Because you still have to go to your mentoring sessions. You still have to go to those monthly meetups or whatever to keep yourself up because.
Yeah, and I had to say to people, it's actually normal when you go and you're around a group of people for quite a while that you just click with your tribe and then you come away and then you have to go back into normal life. It's actually really normal to get that slump like, oh, who am I? Why am I doing this? And when people told me they were there, I laughed. I was like, oh, don't worry, it's not just you.
It's not just you. Like you got people like Lisa Forsberg. She rides that wave for months and she uses it to motivate her, to get her clients and to keep her business. And, and that's why we need these things to, as communities as well. And that's why
we need to do like 3 monthly ones in different towns.
Well, even if you're not doing like a conference per se, at least going to a mind, body, spirit or festival or something like that to keep you elevated up, because it's easier to come down than what it is to get up. So yeah, I said, like I said the same thing to you because I'd had a rough couple of days and I'm like, that's it. I've had enough. People suck. I want to go back to the conference because all of those people get what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because like when you're a hypnotist, a lot of people don't get what it is that you're talking about. I've got one friend and she always calls me witty because she goes, you always know the right thing to say. And it's because my brain is solution focused, but her mind isn't open. So when I say these things, she takes them as a scenario rather than I really need to think deeper about that.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I love about the conferences. That's why, I want to do more talks and travel more and network even more, but in person because, hey, online's awesome. In person, oh my gosh, the energy at the Hypnosis Conference in New Zealand. And those people get what you're talking about. They can support you and help you. And it's not just about the speakers that are there. It's about the connections that you make with other people and other vibes, So, yeah, I have to completely agree. Like, there are so many things like and more I swing towards, it's all hypnosis.
Yeah, 100%. It's all hypnosis. The thing with the conference, Trish, too, is that we, as hypnotherapists, if you are doing it full time, you spend a lot of time with people that are wanting to solve issues.
Yeah, so they're not your people as such. They are literally the polar opposite of your people that you're lifting up to help and heal, and then you've got to recharge with your people, your tribe, as they say.
So it's really important, to get around.
And that's why
mind mapping thing.
Yeah, and that's why people like you and me keep showing up. We keep doing these live videos. We keep organising free or paid events because it's so easy to get down and out and think it's just you or...
It's a lonely job. It's a lonely job for a lot of people because it's just online, and for a lot of people it's at home. Yeah.
And that's why we have our supervision with Clinical Hypnosis Australia, and we have peer supervision. So peer supervision is where you grab a friend, you solve all the world's problems, you write it all down, and then you lift each other up so that you can keep on going. Because it's easy for us to get distracted. It's easy for us to go, I've got to mow the lawns and I've got to feed the horses and, I've got to wash the car or whatever. Then what it is to go, you know what? I need to go catch up with my tribe and recharge. I need to make that phone call and book the date. I must show up.
Yeah.
So I did get asked a little while back, what is the difference between meditation and hypnotherapy? For me, that answer literally goes exactly like this. Meditation is a journey. Hypnotherapy is the journey with specifics included in the journey.
That's a nice way of putting it.
And that's exactly what it is for me. What about you? What is the difference between meditation and hypnotherapy?
It's such a loaded question because meditation, and there's a crossover now because people are using the term meditation for guided journeys online. So meditation for weight loss, and it's a hypno weight loss session. Or because there's a lot of people thinking that if I use the word hypnosis, people will be put off, which I don't believe in myself. So for me, meditation used to be a a thing that was done for people trying to master working with different states of mind, quieting the mind. It would be in the past part of not just a mind-based thing, it would be mind and body to reach enlightenment or whatever that the goal was. Whereas for me, hypnotherapy was something that was usually done with someone guiding with a purpose to solve one particular thing. So like with meditation, a lot of people would do meditation, to calm the mind, but it wouldn't be, I'm going to do meditation for weight loss. It was a meditation to either become your true self or to quieten the mind or to do
more of a generalized.
It was kind of a big long-term goal where you're working on something, whereas hypnotherapy would be, I'm going to do hypnotherapy for weight loss, or I'm going to do hypnotherapy for this. So there's always, like you said, there was a goal in mind. And I mean, even when we do a journey in hypnosis, it's a journey usually to have a conversation with a higher part of ourselves, or there's a journey to clear out past stuff that's holding us back, or there's a journey into the future to get information about what we need to do. There's always a purpose to it. Mm-hmm. It's not just in breathing and going within. There's always some kind of purpose to hypnotherapy.
Usually, and when you get a good hypnotist, it's that specific purpose tailored for you.
For you, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. So I think it's like to me, but I think when it comes to working with altered states, whether you're doing meditation, hypnosis, breathing, breath work, psychedelics, if you're doing the shamanic stuff, we're working with altered states, they call them ASCs, or altered states of consciousness, where the imagination is fired up and change can happen quickly. So I think we're still delving into the same rounds. It's like, what for though? Like, what's the purpose to it? So it is interesting when people say, what's the difference? I know if I went to a meditation in town, I would be expecting to have a session where maybe I feel regulated when I come out. I would maybe think maybe I'm going to have a bit of a spiritual experience. But if I was going to go and do hypnotherapy in town, it would be for something, like they're doing a weight loss hypnotherapy session in town, and I would hope to come away with maybe more control in my eating. Yeah. So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. And I think that's where the lines get blurred as well, you know. Yeah. And it's going to happen forever. Like, you know, that our niches and our businesses are constantly changing and evolving as we grow more and more. But don't write off one because it didn't work.
Working in the same states of mind. Prayer.
Yes.
Prayer. Going into a state, connecting with God and praying for loved ones. I mean, it's in the same realms of meditation.
But what is the difference though? Like, I'm not religious, as you know, but I don't mind if you are. What is the difference between you praying to God, you know, help me with this, blah, 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 and me going, universe, I just need some guidance right now?
Yeah. Well, look at what you did.
Yeah, exactly. There's no difference. It's just your belief system and where you're coming from. One thing I don't like is when people externalize their support and then blame it on something else as a cop-out scenario. So, for example, I want this house. So you're literally just ghosting yourself. I want this house. I'm going to put it out to whoever and blah, blah, blah. And then I don't get it. And it's like, oh, well, the universe has something better installed. Okay, fair enough. Yep, I get that. I've used that excuse myself. But don't ghost yourself about it. Like, literally just go, okay, well, the universe has something better installed, but it only has something better installed if I actively keep seeking. You know, if you're complaining you don't have any clients because you're actively not seeking, you're not going out and networking yourself.
That's the good old school. You need to be clients. Someone explained
ghosting yourself.
Someone explained it perfectly to me once. Was that in the times when we were living in communities, the community would have a healer, and the healer would usually be at that place, and you know that if you needed it, you'd go to the healer. Mm-hmm. And So they didn't need promotion. They didn't need Facebook, TikTok, or Google. And there wasn't 50,000 healers. There was the one. There was.
And it didn't cost them an arm and a leg to go and see them.
Yeah, they were. Their payment was in food and shelter and support and gifts, because it obviously wasn't money in houses and stuff then. But these days now, our community is so different, where there's millions of doctors and millions of healers and millions of people busy doing things. So we need to go out and actually be where the people are that need it, opposed to people coming to us.
And choose someone that resonates with you. Like, I've had feedback from people on the internet give me 1 star because they're like, I don't like the sound of her voice. And it's like, okay. Like, I get that. I mean, some people's voices annoy me as well, but don't write off the whole service. Like, I've had people come back to me for hypnotherapy for quit smoking, and I said to them, what have you tried to quit before? And they're like, hypnotherapy, it didn't work. You have to find the right person for you, and don't write off the service just because that one person was just, I don't know, maybe shit at it, or they weren't the right person for you. You've done it. You've done this with Melody, right? So you have said something to Melody and she's like, yeah, mum, yeah, mum, yeah, mum. And then all of a sudden somebody else said the exact same thing and you're like, I've been bloody saying that. And it's just because she was in the right space at the right time, her mind was open, that person had that little bit of authority. You know, it doesn't mean she had a closed mind. It just meant that you weren't the person to deliver that message for her, you know. Yeah. So we're complex creatures, but don't write off one thing just because you had a bad experience. Yeah. Find another person that's going to resonate with you. And that's why I always promote the free consult, because perhaps there is resistance there. Perhaps there is something annoying that person does. Sometimes there's some people you just don't like and you don't know why. And that's because they represent something from your past that you haven't quite.
So important. Our mind needs to open up, and you need to have that authority. So if you're looking at someone that looks like a creepy person from your past, the chances are you're probably not going to.
Yeah, I was shooting pool with one guy, and there was just something I couldn't put my finger on. He's lovely. He's always helpful. He talks very well, and I just couldn't put my finger on. There was part of me that was like, you know, like that real heart stuff. And anyway, I sat there thinking about it one day, and he sent me a voice message because he was like, hey, I've got a cue stick for you. And I'm like, yes, sweet, thanks, dude. And as I would listen to it, I suddenly my ex popped into my head, and I was like, he sounds exactly like my ex. Like the way he talks. And that was my trigger. And I was like, okay, I've got to go and have a conversation with that part of myself, because that's just my heart modality going, I've got to protect you. You know, I'm just giving you a heads up as protection. Don't completely shut this person down, but I'm just, you know, giving you a little warning sign. Yeah. And that's what I did. I went and had a conversation with myself, went and had a hypnotherapy session, and then alleviated that connection. You know, I was like, heart, thank you so much. Let's remove that connection, because this person is not that person, so therefore they should not be judged as so. And then all of a sudden, I'm just like, I can just chill out more around this person because I feel safer.
Yeah.
You know, and it was nothing to do with them. It was
Isn't it good having the knowledge to be able to do that? Because often when you don't understand how the mind works with triggers, would you just assume someone's not good? Or there's just
or perhaps you would go start. So what one thing that I was taught just recently was some people seek the triggers rather than glitters.
Yeah.
So are you seeking the trigger or are you seeking the glitter? So in that particular instance, my heart was trying to protect me and was seeking the trigger, but my brain hadn't caught up with my heart. And that's exactly every single scenario that you're in. Like, you know, sure, protect yourself, always feel safe, but seek the glitters. Because I was literally looking at this person going, look, they're a nice person. They've always helped out. Great in the community. It's you, Trish. It's you.
Yeah. I always teach my clients, because it's really hard when you're talking to people, the difference between a gut feeling and a trigger. So I always teach my clients to, you know, if they are around someone and they feel their nervous system is responding, to actually work on that.
Have a conversation with it.
Place, and then to go back and see if that response is still there, because we do have gut feelings as well.
And we do have permanent triggers, I believe, to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, like some people literally like, I've never trusted men. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to. But if you have that conversation and you can't shift it, then you're going to have to treat the situation with kindness and never put yourself in a vulnerable position. Because if you're walking around the back alleys at night and then suddenly you're like, oh, I'm in trouble, that's your fucking fault, dickhead. Don't walk around the back alleys.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, anyway, that triggers me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So, please don't return clothes if you've already worn them.
Yeah, that's just odd.
Yeah, that's just odd. I mean, if you tried it on.
In movies.
Yeah, you see it in movies. I don't know if I've ever met someone who actually does it. But, I mean, if you tried it on, then you're like, well, no, it definitely doesn't fit. Okay, I get that. But
that's
actually worn it. Once you've worn it, it's yours, mate. Like, it's yours.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, lovelies, we will catch you in the future and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Yeah.